I'm really excited to be here in this particular spot because I just noticed this spot yesterday, and like these, I mean, they just come out of nowhere, right? Like the violets popped up, and then with the daffodils, and you can see how fresh it is. Like this is leaves right here that they're poking through. Look at that, cool. Poking that little flower bud.
Popping right through.
Yeah, so very exciting to be in this like very beautiful little, at the base of a cherry tree with flying ants. Yeah, so I love violets so much, and I actually planted all of this violet from sprouts from Strictly Medicinals and from a friend who had some violet odorata, and I've just been plugging it everywhere, and it's starting to become kind of weedy and go everywhere, which is what I want. Yeah. I want it to be everywhere because I love violet so much. I actually only fell in love with violet like not too long ago. Like, I don't know, it was maybe 5 years ago, but I hadn't spent much time with violet odorata. Have you?
Not really. It always makes me happy when I see it pop up in the spring.
I mean, the smell.
Yeah.
You should grab one and smell, because that smell is just like...
The flower's the thing that has the odor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's such an incredible smell. And the thing, you can't capture that smell.
No.
Like, that's not something that has ever been able to be captured, which is so special. Wow. It's so special that we can capture lavender smell, right? And I cherish that. Yeah. And it's also so special we can't, this is it. Right. This ephemeral spring being, we get to smell this smell and, you know, enjoy it for such a short time. Right. And it really is a beautiful reminder of just to be present and to enjoy the spring. And right about now, things are like ramping up really quick in the garden. There's always just so much to do, and it's easy to be like, dun, 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 you know, but this is like, oh, let's take some time to be with the violets. Tori Amos actually says to kiss the violets as they're waking up, which I think is a beautiful, you know, metaphor for like taking the time to spend time in spring. And yeah, so for me, like the violet medicine first and foremost is just what violets do for my heart in the springtime. Just the gladdening, the happiness, like, oh my gosh. And they did just come up so fast. Making medicine and food with violets is so much fun because the aesthetics are just gorgeous. Yeah. So I love to make violet syrup, which does, you know, impart that flavor that's so special. And when you make the violet syrup, depending on your water and what type of water you have, it might be blue when you first make it or pinkish. And then you can add drops of lemon juice and it changes it until you get what I like is like the deep purple. And it's just so cool. This deep purple syrup made from these flowers.
And you're saying it does impart some of what we're smelling.
Yeah, it does.
Tastes somewhat like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. And then with that syrup, you could just have that syrup. I'll talk about medicinal virtues in just a moment, but you could just like have that syrup by the spoonful. But what we like to do is we make violet gelato. Oh, wow. Okay. Which is really fun. Or we make violets. I make a Kiss the Violets Tori reference cocktail or mocktail. And so that's really fun. Then, of course, you can use the flowers to adorn salads and cakes and all sorts of things like that as well. So there's like really endless possibilities to how to enjoy violets. So even that, like the medicine, even if it had no medicinal virtues, just making the syrup and then enjoying that, also medicine, because it's just such a, again, ephemeral plant, that's the word, ephemeral plant that you really have to harvest yourself. And sometimes Chinese medicine apothecaries will carry the leaves and stuff, but often not super great quality. So really this is a plant that you need to get to know, to harvest yourself. In many places it does grow weedy. Definitely look for that smell. There's lots of different violets out there, but when it comes to this type of medicine, I love the odoratum. There's a lot of wild violets out there, and I don't recommend harvesting wild violets unless you are very connected to place and you know the status of, you know, some violets are kind of less hard, you know, less populous, and you could come across like one patch that's like big and beautiful, but that might be the only patch for many miles. And so it's not just a plant that you want to find like one good stand, but you really want to be in touch with like, what is the status of this plant in this region? Is it at risk, etc. So it's nice to have these like weedy varieties in our lawns and stuff where we can enjoy them and harvest them and not have to worry about having any kind of negative impact in that regard. Yeah, so medicinal gifts of violet is, you know, energetically they're so cooling and soothing, and that is like a great indication for their medicine. So like whenever you have hot, dry conditions, violet's there to help you. That can be a hot, dry cough, hot, dry skin, just any type of heat and dryness in that sense. Jim McDonald, who we mentioned, and he talks about violet being so great for like rigidity and anger, and how there's a softening to violet, like, just a softening in our personalities even as well. Violet can really modulate inflammation, especially inflammation due to dryness. So used pretty famously for things like the dry eczema, dry skin conditions as well.
Are you referring to the aerial parts tinctured or tea or both?
So I love to work with the violet flowers, and the violet leaves are fantastic as well, and they persist much longer. Okay, and so these are also, like, if you give them a little nibble on the leaves, they have a demulcent quality to them as well as the, I can just immediately feel that.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of violets are very similar, but some of them are more, especially the roots can have other constituents that can be like nausea inducing. So really good to know like what your native species is, and again, harvest with care. But yeah, the slimy on that. Yep. But on a hot summer's day, like adding some violet leaves to a salad. I don't like it as the only salad green, but a little bit of salad green is good. It makes a really great nourishing infusion. Violets. But again, it's like you kind of have to harvest it yourself and dry it. You can dry the flowers kind of, sort of, like technically you can, but they, like this one is kind of spent. And like when they actually fully dry, they just become like these like curled up little tiny pieces of themselves. So better to make medicine with these fresh. So I love the syrup. I love the tea. People do work with it as a tincture. I'm not really a tincture person. So especially for something that's cooling and moistening, you can get some of those properties into a tincture, but alcohol is so drying and warming that it's, if like you really want the cool, soothing medicine of violet, then tea or syrup is going to be better. Also, I love to infuse this into oil with dandelion as like a lymphatic massage oil as well. So it does make a lovely oil in that regard. Did I mention we make a gelato out of it?
Is it blue?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you could add like, it makes a, like bluish, but you could add something like butterfly pea flower. Oh, okay. Just really to like make it pop. Yeah, really make it pop.
Yeah, I was very impressed with how slimy the leaves were. I know I've had it. It's been a long time since I've violet leaf. I'm a huge marshmallow root infusion fan. I would love to try harvesting and drying some someday and trying the infusion out of the leaves. I suspect it'll be quite slimy, actually. Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's such a wonderful thing. Maybe we could talk about lawns in a little bit, but I'm all about not having a monoculture grass lawn, and it's a great thing to get established in your lawn. It can be a little tricky, like I've had trouble getting it in our lawn just because like if you already have like thick matted grass, then it can be a little bit more difficult, but with a little bit of urging you can get it spreading, and you can, I know you all can't see here, but there's probably like 15 different violet flowers which are spreading exuberantly, and I hope they continue to spread because you just really can't have enough violets around.
Yeah, this has been, smelling that again, it is reminiscent. You know how like the memories associated to smell and everything, I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, I remember this one. Smell-o-vision, but...
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain that smell. It's
like kind of sweet floral. It's lovely.
Yeah. Oh, people make like jams and jellies out of violet stuff. Okay. Oh, vinegar. Violet vinegar is quite nice. And you can make that into like a shrub or a drink or... our book, Emily and mine's book, Wild Remedies, we have lots of violet recipes in there. Some of those Emily created, like the cocktails and mocktails and stuff. They're quite inventive. So those are in there. And yeah, love violets. And I'm just, I know you'll be back for the summer visit when everything's blooming, but this is like a special thing to have time with these violets since they're here for such a short period of time.
Yay.
They're also super nutritious. They're like filled with all sorts of lovely things, especially like rutin and just wonderful heart health too. Like these are great, like nourishing for the heart.
One of my favorite things about the herbal community is we just love the common, weedy, everyday plants. And I feel like this one, even though it is that, I feel like it's still underappreciated perhaps. But I definitely want to start utilizing this more, spending more time with the violet now.